Hello everyone, it's Eric. In 2022, perhaps the best new rap battle series was PowerPoint Rap Battles. But in a relatively close second can be Marvel vs. Anything. This series made 5 battles in 2022, and all of them were quite good. So I thought it would be a fun challenge to try to rank them. So before we begin, I'll make it very clear, this will be tough because all 5 battles are quite close in quality. And also, subscribe so you know when the next rap battle and maybe new ranking comes out. You know what? Let's jump right in. Number 5 is Mysterio vs. Psycho Mantis. I think within the rap battle community, this is kind of the popular opinion that it's the weakest of the battles, but given that it's kind of a full video while the rest are a bit more simple, some of you may be surprised. Well, let me explain. I overall find the battle just less interesting and entertaining than the others. But let's start with some positives. I think the visuals, of course, are top tier. They're some of the best of any rap battle, honestly. I love the way a lot of it looks, the art is fantastic, the ending bits are great as well. I love the whole way the YouTube screen looks and that's kind of collapsing and burning at the end. Not to mention the closing lines that go with it are great. I like the whole lights camera action bit. Another very good thing is the beats. The beat is epic, well arranged, and it feels very grand. The performances are both very good. I think Adam as Mysterio has a lot of charisma and is great, but the helmet effect, as I'm gonna call it, was kind of grating for me. Psycho Mantis, I like that voice a lot, but it was not grating for me, so that was interesting. Only the Mysterio one bothered me in that regard. So what is the issue? Well, as weird as it may sound, and it's kind of hard to justify this one honestly, but I'll do my best. It feels weird that they went for a grand tone with this one. The beat and visuals for me don't align with the matchup. That could be a me issue. I don't know a ton about the Psycho Mantis character, but I don't know if Mysterio is the kind of villain I see in the grand, large, vast battle setting like that. So it kind of seems a little out of place to me to have the really big visuals and beat. I'll also say some minor things are the battle drags a bit, and the writing for me is the least memorable and feels the least like a Marvel vs. Anything, where there's kind of a distinct style that I've seen. This one has the least of that. So it's a good battle, but I don't think it's as fun as the others, and the dramatic parts don't entirely work. Number 4 is She-Hulk vs. Luisa. Now, bear in mind, 3 and 4 was the toughest decision by far. They were super close. This one I like though, let's talk about that. I think it's more laid back and fun than the Mysterio Psycho Mantis one, and I enjoy that. And the main benefits, both performances are fantastic. Jesse really brings a lot of character to Luisa, and I really enjoy that performance. And the voice for She-Hulk is also fantastic. The beat is pleasant and works. I like the art from Strip. And the highlight for me would be Luisa's second verse, where it opens with her realizing that it was not pressure because she thinks she's better at rapping. And I thought that was a nice way to tie in the story of Encanto. Not to mention, Surface Pressure is the best song in Encanto, no doubt. Now, in terms of some minor issues, I feel like the first verse is a little short and doesn't really have a whole lot of noteworthy lyrics. And some of the unconventional flow doesn't quite work for me, but overall, it's great. The top 4 in this list are mainly just kind of separated by how the characterization, writing, and flow works, and this one for me worked the least, but it is not by a large margin. Number 3 is Carnage vs. Sideshow Bob. This one, I'm going to start with some of the less important elements, the one I was not just talking about. Visually, this is my favorite besides the obvious Mysterio one. BMB's art is awesome. I thoroughly enjoy that. The beat is also super catchy, but also a bit spooky, and I love the tone of it. Now let's talk about the Carnage performance and such. Many love Carnage in this, and for me, I like the voice. I like that it's not a really loud, high-pitched grating, "Hey kids, you like violence?" or whatever they were going to go for. I think there was some initial idea of that. If I'm not mistaken, there was demo vocals that were used for the final thing, and they are fantastic. The writing is what I have a bit of an issue with. It's true to the character, but I wish there were a few more disses and references to the actual characters, and maybe it's just not my personal cup of tea. And I'd say also the second verse is a little dragged out to me, but overall, I like it, and it's more than made up for the weak parts, with Sideshow Bob being fantastic. RNG nails it. The flow is just as catchy, but the lines and references are better. There's a lot I can go into here. So the first verse, it's fun. I like the bootlicking line, the candidate thing, and the left like myself with minimum security. And then the final verse has a few lines only, but they are all awesome. Venom Stole the Spotlight, You're a Sideshow is awesome. The grammar line is so much, I gotta go into that. So, for pretty clear out grammar will be dripping into typo, so tell me if I missed anything. But I know it's saying he does not know how to write Carnage in this case because they're saying his grammar is poor. And typo is a typo pun with both making a mistake on a keyboard and also blood. And the dripping also references blood. And grammar is the last name of Sideshow Bob's voice actor. I probably still missed something, but that's a lot. Not to mention I love the ending with the whole rake joke. But we never know if he was going to say, it comes back in your face like a rake with a pause, or it comes back in your face like a rake. But who cares? Either way, very fun battle. I love it. Number 2 is Kingpin versus Professor Ratigan. I feel like this is probably the best of them, and I almost gave it number 1, but I did not. So let's go into this one. The writing I think is the best. A lot of great references and harsh disses. I like Kingpin's opening being similar to Carnage, but transitioning into things about how Ratigan's a children's film villain. It's a better version of the way they did Carnage for me. I like the play on Ratigan's villain song during Ratigan's verses, and the lines about breaking the back and Kingpin's children and shut your trap early. Those are all standouts. I like those. Now for performances, the Kingpin is pretty spot on. I like that a lot. But Ratigan really stands out. Raccoon Bro VA nails it. He becomes just a different person with this one. He has both the charisma and the evil of the character he's representing, and I think Vincent Price would be proud. The visuals, they're on par with the other ones, and the one flaw for me is that the beat is the least memorable for me, and that's the one thing that kinda holds it back, but still, great battle, and definitely deserving of the high Battle of the Month placements it seemed to receive. And yes, some of you figured out that number 1 is Shocker versus Glass Joe. Crazy pick, I'm sure. Yes, I know it's kind of weird, even I'm not certain it was the right choice. It's not flawless. Visually, it's the least interesting, it doesn't have custom art. Not a ton of disses technically in the first half. A few rhymes or stretches with the happened yeah accidents. And I guess technically Glass Joe could have used more actual disses in the first verse for a conventional battle. But it's so fun. Let's go over the real good stuff now. Shocker's first verse is awesome. The rhyme schemes, the 4-line parts especially, are awesome. They work insanely well, and it's different from the typical 2-line rhyme structure. The whole I'm Shocker scheme is apparently a reference I don't get, and I also like the way it sounds. Not to mention, Shocker fried the French and just finished a circuit. Brilliant closer. It's a very fun verse. Tony gives a really strong, charismatic performance, and the idea that there's not a lot of strong disses, I like that. Is Shocker kind of covering out the fact that he's not really a strong villain, but because Glass Joe's also not that strong, he can kind of cover that up and just belittle his opponent. So a great start. Then Glass Joe's first verse is hilarious. His plan to win because he feels like he's stronger in the heart, and then cry tears of joy, so Shocker slips on them, that is hilarious. And Alaskan Sam is just so good as Joe. And then the whole thing where he's really going off, ready to end on the your outfit's really bad line. I love the way he just completely flubs it. And then Shocker's second verse. My favorite thing about this, honestly, is the fact that Glass Joe's only diss being about his goofy outfit. Shocker still has a comeback for it, with the quilt being less soft than Glass Joe. I think that's brilliant. And this is just a very well-realized battle. We keep going in with some other great lines, like the pettiest crime one, headgear, the freak accident line, and then we get Glass Joe's second verse. My favorite verse in the whole series so far. I like how he refutes the whole argument where Shocker is just kind of saying Joe's a loser, but then Joe says, I improve, but you fail more than I do and you don't learn from your mistakes. It's awesome. And then the closing scheme is insane, and the delivery on the, hey, is this a time I won't lose, is my favorite in the whole thing. And the MCU line is funny because I actually kind of forgot that Shocker was in the MCU, so I love that as well. And the beat is awesome and catchy. I listen to the outro every time because of that. Overall, this battle is a blast. As an April Fool's battle, it works really well, and as a Marvel vs. Anything, it works even better. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below your rankings, and subscribe for more content. I'll see you next time.